AM 1220, KHTS, your hometown station. You're listening to Dr. Proctor, IMT. I'm with you every first and third Thursday of the month. This is a show where we peek over the shoulders of the doctors and the medical community so that we can become our own best advocates. Unfortunately, a lot of times people will have issues, and one of the first things they'll do is if it's not rushing off to the doctor, it's going on to the internet and using Dr. Google. Information that is often wrong and certainly scary. And one of the things we try to do here with Dr. Proctor is have an informal conversation, again, with doctors and the medical support staff so that we can learn a little bit about how best to take care of ourselves as the population ages and we have that silver tsunami. They say more and more numbers of aging individuals that will have age-related issues. Again, it's not so much the years on a car, it's the mileage. And the more you do and the harder you are to that system, the more you have to do to take care of it. And there are some wonderful, wonderful ways we can. One of the things that many times we'll think of if we're in sports or at a certain point of our life, we'll think of chiropractic. But senior chiropractic, not always a conversation that we have. And with us today, we have Rick Ferrante, who's the president of Home Care Services, a company that helps seniors, anyone who has issues that needs a little help at home medically. You can find them at homecaresantaclarita.com. Also, Dr. Taylor Levine, he is here from the Unruh Spine Center. You can find them at unruhspinecenter.com, UNRUH Spine Center. Gentlemen, again, thank you for being here. We've talked a bit about what does senior chiropractic care look like. What I'd like to talk about is before a senior gets to that place to where they may require your services, Dr. Levine, what can a senior person do, or anyone really, just of any age, do to prevent problems? What are the things? I mean, I'm sure your industry is impacted with all the growing numbers, so that we come to you when we really, really, really need you. What can we do to prevent having to really, really need to see you?
Yeah, and we see it a lot with especially a lot of patients that do come in. People just wait for the very last minute to finally go, okay, fine, I'm going to come in and get treatment, sort of thing.
Harder to fix a thing then, isn't it?
It takes a little longer. If it's a lot easier if you're dealing with some pain for a couple days for you to come in, because that's an easy fix. It might take only a couple of treatments and you're fine. Versus if you're dealing with someone and you're just keep putting it off, over time, now I have to remove all that stuff, that damage that you've done to it. And it's all about kind of, especially in the senior community, just creating that motion, whether it's in the spine, getting them to have better range of motion in the shoulders, hips, knees, getting anyone really moving.
So just moving in the sense of, we've heard the thing about the 10,000 steps. So just walking, right? Just getting up and flexing those joints, maybe stretching, just moving.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you just a little story. My grandfather, who lives in Palm Desert, he had severe ankle pain. He's been dealing with ankle pain for a long time. He likes to play golf, and he couldn't play golf anymore because of the ankle pain. Well, one, he was getting a little overweight, and two, all the aches and pains of him running a department store for years has kind of caught up to him. So I told him, look, well, I can't treat you via the internet, so you're going to have to go. And I found him a chiropractor in his area. He started walking more. He lost 30 pounds. And it looks better than I do, I swear, sometimes when I see
Now,
it.
weight, let's talk about that for a moment. Weight can be, I think that by and large, the number one thing that is hardest on our bones, hardest on our ligaments and our muscles. And a lot of times, as a physician, wouldn't that be like one of the first things you look at to say, well, let's deal with that, because that's the equivalent of packing around your own extra luggage every day. That's too much on the bones, isn't it?
And you know what? When you're younger, your bones and joints are definitely a little bit healthier. You're able to recover a little faster. So the weight, might not affect you that much. But as you get older and you creep up in that age and you put more miles on those joints, now it's going to start causing to put a heck of a lot of pressure and pain. And and it's gonna make you want to go, I don't want to walk. I just want to sit here because I'm not in pain when I sit.
And while we can talk about changing your diet, really it's input and output. And if you are putting in relatively good foods, and one of the things we should look at first is not so much changing, you have to know what you're eating. But let's say you have a senior or someone who's got some back pain, some hip pain, some joint pains, and for the most part, they're eating relatively well. The number one thing you got to get them doing is moving, like your grandfather.
Yeah, correct.
Get up now. But with ankle pain or any pain, it's really hard to want to move. And Rick, you mentioned that during the break, where you said you don't want to, the gym analogy.
Yeah, this is the thing is you have a situation where you're it's a self-feeding cycle. So you have someone who maybe has some of those aches and pains where they were very active before, and then some of those aches and pains. My mother-in-law's tennis, loves playing tennis, and for years. And then as she started getting those aches and pains, she basically just slowed down with the amount of tennis that she's playing. And as a result, without that movement, and Dr. Levine is we could just see it. Without that movement, then things start to hurt more. And it's this self-feeding cycle.
And then you don't want to do anything.
You don't want to do it. So now instead of playing tennis 5 days a week, she played tennis 3 days a week. And now she's down to 1 day a week. And so look, this cycle has to kind of end here. And while we can't just magically make all this pain go away, and we can't magically just get you there. We've got to either find a different way, different method. Maybe you can play tennis in a different, at a lower level or something. Get moving because of that cycle. It's got to kind of break there. Otherwise, you're just going to continue all the way. And what we see, just like Dr. Levine does when they come into his practice, we see the same thing. Let's say a daughter calls and says, look, my mom all she's doing is watching TV. And you can just see how this is really kind of going downhill. And so you talk to people and you kind of figure out, well, it's because I'm hurting, I'm sore, I don't have anybody to go and do stuff with. And if we can kind of get in there, and it's not even just this official plan. A lot of it's just, let's have some fun. Let's go out, let's go take this walk, look at what the professionals are saying to do those exercises, and then just get that movement. And then your reliance on the walkers and the canes and the this and that kind of thing would be less.
I think too, what you were talking about, the socialization, there's a show for another time, depression, that plays into the not wanting to do anything.
It's big, and you can just see the family.
Right, and you just wonder.
They can see this happening, and they want to, how do we
fix it?
Now, one thing they could do is just be there all the time, but
you can't be there,
right? They got jobs, they've got their own family.
And that's why a company like Home Care Services is very good for that. Dr. Levine, what's the philosophy behind your practice in regards to pain? A lot of times someone will come in, and is it a one-stop shop approach, or is this the kind of thing where because drugs are not always the first go-to. At home, I know in our house, the ibuprofen bottle gets that old child proof lock just gets worn away because we will turn to that. But that's not always the answer either. That can come with its own set of problems. So what's your philosophy in your practice regards to pain?
So pain, the unfortunate thing is that we all live with pain. I can smack my hand on this desk and there's pain right there. But really dealing with chronic pain, and especially when it comes to seniors or any patient that is in this severe pain and they're taking these narcotic type drugs to reduce their pain. Well, it's reducing their symptoms of their pain. It's not necessarily fixing the symptoms.
It's sort of like pulling down a shade on a window where the heat's coming in. You're still going to get the heat, but it just kind of brings it down a little.
Exactly. And so, for myself as a chiropractor, yes, I focus on the spine to restore that motion. And with regards to that, it helps immensely with people, especially that are dealing with severe pain, to where if not, they're able to at least reduce it. Sometimes they even go, I don't even need this anymore, and it's great. And I've treated countless patients that no longer need to take Vicodin every day.
Well, this is what we want. We want to get to the place where you no longer need that. And do you start off? Is it the kind of thing the different therapies that you use? Are there things that patients can do at home? What are the different modalities? What do you offer patients for pain?
Yeah, so I mean, other than the treatment chiropractically, every patient that I give, depending on, of course, where they're hurting and where their issues are, I always give them a detailed printed out sheet of stretches. And I go over them and I tell them, you need to start doing these. Also, icing really helps. Ice helps kind of flush some of the inflammation that's going on in an area. And people go, okay, the question of heat and ice, heat and ice, heat and
Well,
ice.
heat feels better.
Yes.
It's just, it always does. But ice is the thing that reduces the inflammation.
Right.
And I have to tell you, I lived with a runner, my daughter, cross country for years. And when she would be in pain as a teenager, and I'd say, we're going to ice that. Oh, please, no, that's more pain. Only for a few moments, the shock of that ice on the body part or the knee or the wherever the ankles. It's short-lived. Get through it, because that is one of the things. And stretching is another one where you hurt. What's the last thing you really want to do? Get down on the floor, or that's how do you encourage your patients to do the thing that maybe feels counterintuitive? Because we want to put heat on something because it makes it feel better.
Yeah, for me, I try to just relate as much as I can.
Compassion's good,
Yeah.
Doc. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We all would like that.
To my patients, because it's like, look, I don't like icing, but I do tell my patients they have to ice.
But you know that it helps.
I know that it helps.
Yeah.
And so it's one of these things where, okay, like Sally hates ice and she just does not want to do it ever. Well, it's just slowly just working her up to, okay, maybe just like 5 minutes. You don't have to do the full 20. Okay, maybe 6
You
minutes.
kind of walk them through it.
Yeah.
Get them into that mindset.
And, just trying to show everyone that walks in our door, unfortunately, has something going on where they're dealing with something. So being able to have that empathy to make them feel like, okay, like I'm in a place where I'm going to start feeling better. That's my goal as a patient.
Feeling better, being stronger, balance, mobility, so critically important, especially as someone enters their senior years. Rick, you can speak to this. What is the most common cause of a senior needing to leave their home and go to assisted living? Because most people that's not on their wish list.
That is literally, if you ask somebody ask seniors, what do you fear the most? And people think, what, death or other just calamities. Most seniors, what they fear the most is losing their independence. It's the strongest thing. I do not want to be
and not being in their
dependent.
home too,
which is losing their independence. That's the whole kind of issue. It's all tied together. So when you look at somebody and say, okay, what is the number one reason that they're going to lose their independence? That somebody's going to lose their independence and not be at home and being able to be independent. And statistically, the number one reason why people have to then leave their home and go to assisted living facility or skilled nursing facility is falls. Falls are the number one thing. It's not some illness. It's not cancer. It's not heart disease. It is literally the physical nature of falls. And so this gets right back into, the strength, the motion, mobility, etc., is to continuously try to keep that as part of the life plan, a part of what you're doing day to day, day in and out, day out, and not just going to the doctor's and chiropractor appointment. Yes, that, but then following those exercises that Dr. Levine give you, and it's kind of one of these things where, but I don't want any help with that because I want to be independent, and it's sort of this self-defeating thing. Okay, you don't have any help with that, which means you're not doing it, which means then you're gonna fall, and that's what ends up putting you into an assisted living facility. So your results are exactly where you don't want to be.
It is interesting that, when we start out in life, we're young, we really, what's the one thing most young people crave before they hit that 18th birthday is independence. They want so much, even when they're very little. I want to ride my bike. I don't want mom and dad to, don't come with me to the swimming pool. Leave me at my friend's house overnight. There's that tremendous independence we crave. Then we go throughout our life where we are for the most part, responsible for ourselves. And then there will come a point where we are yet again in our life at a sort of vulnerable place where we want our independence, but we kind of need the assistance to keep us healthy, keep us well, keep us safe, and keep us
or the assistance
where we need to
keep
be.
us independent.
Yeah.
So it's this catch-22 thing. Well, I don't want any help, or I don't want to do these exercises. I don't want to follow this because I want to be independent. I don't want somebody to help me with this. Well, the result of that is sort of that coming off the cliff where you fall, or you have other issues that put you into an assisted living facility. If there's this kind of gradual approach, look, maybe just a little bit of help will keep me strong enough, keep me in motion, complying with doctor's instructions. Now I won't lose that independence for a long time.
And that's really what we want. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've said before, I do this show partly because I love the medical community. I love what they do for us. I love the assistance, but I also feel like we really need to be our own best advocates, especially in an era of impacted healthcare where you really cannot go to an emergency room anymore and not see a line around the block. Especially during cold and flu season. And this is really difficult. And if you really need a doctor, you really need to see someone in the healthcare profession, the idea that they should be available to you, but where we can help ourselves or our loved ones or, you know, the people we are caring for or caregiving for, it's critically important. And I feel like knowing that there are options like with chiropractic care for seniors to where, again, your number one goal is to keep your patients mobile. Yep. I mean, I'm certain that the people come in to see you, short of calling you a miracle worker, because I've heard tale told that someone can come in and be using a cane, be using a walker, be using a facilitated device to help with that mobility. You've actually seen patients come in and make that device go away. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's one of those things that people think it's the miracle thing that happened, but a lot of things that, and I'll try not to get too scientific, I guess, with this, is that...
Oh, I'll stop you.
Okay. Is that, you know, in the back of everyone's neck are these receptors, okay? These receptors keep us balanced because otherwise our head would shoot forward, and then, of course, we would fall down, right? Well, if you do have subtle misalignments going on through your neck, they're messing with these receptors, so then now your balance is starting to get off, and then now, okay, you're in a cane or you're a walker, okay, and patient comes in and can treat their neck, treat their back, and all of a sudden they get up off the table and they're walking and they have a little bit more balance because now these receptors are actually working as they should. So in essence, yeah, that's why you can kind of see those. You can say, oh, they're the miracle type patients that walk in with a cane and walk out without it.
Right,
But
because
also
now
good
the balance,
as they do that.
right, but the balance is something, and that is so critical as you get older, because the other things that could be bothering balance issues, whether it's a sinus issue, a visual issue, other things that can create problems anyway, if we can eliminate as many as possible, that would be wonderful.
Then your cycle switches, right? So instead of the pain, then less movement, pain, less movement, you go the other way around. Less pain, start moving. More, then as you're moving and strengthening, you have less pain again. And so you can actually use that cycle to your advantage and start doing that. And again, you've got to continue. It's not just when you're in the doctor's office. You've got to do it as a daily thing.
And then, like you said, the whole movement. This is a time when I think a fellow like Jack LaLanne, we could use another Jack, where people are standing, getting up out of their seat when they're watching television. Because honestly, we're not. Look, we've all seen the graphic of evolution from being on the ground, being bent over, standing upright. There comes a point where we're not meant. There's no chair in that graphic. I don't know. Has anybody noticed? We're not sitting. That's not supposed to be part of this. So the idea that we're up and we're moving, critically important. So yeah, it's like we could use that again. We're going to take a break in just a moment. I know you are both very involved with local nonprofit. It's an event that it's something that really across the board affects so many families now, nationally, internationally. But we're going to talk a little bit about the local aspect of that and how we can help, and then certainly the larger organization. We're talking with Rick Ferrante, president of Home Care Services. You can find them at homecaresantaclarita.com. We're also talking with Dr. Taylor Levine, who's a chiropractor. He's from Unruh Spine Center. You can find them at unruhspinecenter.com. We'll be back in just a little bit. You're listening to Dr. Proctor on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. AM 1220 KHTS, hometownstation.com. I am T. I'm here with you on the first and third Thursday of the month with a program we call Dr. Proctor, a chance to peek over the shoulder at the doctors and medical community to see what they're up to, what they're doing, how we can become our own best health advocates, not just for us, but for our parents or anyone that we are caregivers for or that we even care about. If it's got a pulse, we want to take care of it. With me today, I have Rick Ferrante, the president of Home Care Services. You can find them at homecaresantaclarita.com. Also talking with Dr. Taylor Levine of the Unruh Spine Center of unruhspinecenter.com. Gentlemen, I know you're both involved with a nonprofit organization, and Rick, this is something very close to your heart, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that, send people over to the organization, and then locally bring it back to our own Santa Clarita Valley. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about seniors and the effects of different things on seniors, and one of the biggest effects on seniors of diseases is Alzheimer's and dementia. Alzheimer's being the most common form of dementia. And the Alzheimer's Association is, what they do is basic two things: support people and their families that are experiencing the disease and support them through resources, through education, support, hotlines, etc., as well as funding research to find a cure. And that's the key, is both of those things. We got to find the cure and we got to deal with it until we do, and help people that are afflicted with it. And this is not, it's a national association and an organization, but it's affecting and helping people here in our community.
All right, the larger organization, to get information, there's a website,
alz.org.
And here locally, you're going to be part of an event. And during the break, you did say you're going to put me on the spot and ask me where I was going to be. Tell me about the event.
I want to know where you and everybody else out there, and where Dr. Levine and I will be on October 8th. We'll be at Bridgeport Park, the Walk to End Alzheimer's, our Santa Clarita Walk to End Alzheimer's. This is not LA, this is not whatever, this is us.
So this is funding that helps here.
It helps the association, but also comes back to the community in the form of helping with the support groups, with the resources, the hotline, everything, education, etc.
And that's the critical part, because Alzheimer's it affects the person, but it affects everyone that person touches.
The entire family. This is not by themselves kind of situation, and that's the problem, is that it's affecting all. You can anybody. You walk down the street, and will be affected by it, their family, or have been, or and currently are. And it's something that we've got to deal with, and we've got to help people there. And so what the walk does is help raise funds to support all those programs and to fund research to find a cure. So October 8th at Bridgeport Park. I know the Unruh Spine Center is going to have a team out there.
Yep, we sure are.
Dr. Levine is also helping on the committee. I'm looking for people to help with the committee, to put this and other events on, and educational events, etc. I'm looking for.
There's a lot of work that has to go into this before it happens.
Looking for sponsors, looking for companies out there that want to help and support this community and the cause. I'm looking for vendors out in that community. I'm looking for volunteers. I'm looking for people to come out and walk. Great day. Come on out. October 8th. The registration starts at 7:30 a.m. The opening ceremonies are at 9:30, and then the walk starts at 10. It's just that in the morning. It'll be pretty much over by early afternoon, but it's a great time to get out there with our local community. And then give us a call if you want to help support this. We need the help of everyone.
All right, you can reach out to homecaresantaclarita.com or call them at 412-0707. Dr. Levine, I know that one of the number one things for Alzheimer's prevention and what they talk about for building that healthy bridge to preventing Alzheimer's is exercise. And one of the things that is critical to that is movement and motion. And if there is preventative motion, this is one reason reason people should come to see you for senior chiropractic care, and that they shouldn't be afraid of it, because that is something that is one more tool in their box to help prevent and ward off a lot of diseases. I mean, it is critically important. So I'm grateful that there is someone like you, Dr. Levine, who can assist with that. Again, the Unruh Spine Center is located in Santa Clarita, a couple of different offices, but you can find them at unruhspinecenter.com. And yes, definitely want to be part of the Alzheimer's.
Come on out and see T with her team, who's going to be
there
out
will be
there
walking.
And be walking. You
And if you're feeling like you need a little pep in your step, and to get some of that movement and that mobility, that's why you go see a guy like Dr. Levine.
Start there, yeah.
It's a good day to start moving.
Good day to start moving.
start.
And again, because they say there's 6 pillars to preventing Alzheimer's, and the number one they talk about is exercise, is movement. And if we can do what we can to help a patient stop the pain, we will do that. You're listening to Dr. Proctor here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.